Greetings, everyone. My name is Greg. And right off the top of this, let me say I'm sorry about my voice. I'm dealing with a cold right now, and I could be on the verge of losing my voice. But I wanted to get this video out before that totally goes to shit if it's going to go that route. But before I get into the video, there is something that I wanted to say because there were a few that had pointed out the last video I did was the first one of this year. So happy new year to all of you guys. It's one I don't typically get all worked up over the new year type of thing, but be that as it may. Yeah, we're in another one. But this video, you won't be able to tell by the title, Salvation is Immoral, and the immoral nature of Christians. I recognize that being moral is difficult for Christians. They try to turn it and have it that atheists can't be moral, but the truth of the matter is, atheists are far more moral than a Christian. Because Christians have this idea of the new covenant. You want to know what the new covenant entails? Here's a picture to really illustrate this. Cannibal killer, Jeffrey Dahmer, Christian convert. Can't wait to meet you in heaven. Think about that. Look at that. That's what's going to be in your heaven. Christians. Now, let's talk about justice. You want to come at someone like me and say you're interested in justice. No, you're not. You're interested in not having to take personal responsibility for your actions. Don't hand me this shit either that you give a goddamn about the Bible. You don't. You don't give a fuck about the God of the Bible or what it says. You only care about what you can use to justify or excuse your own behavior. It's not about trying to be that you have to be moral, because I have heard Christians say it's impossible to keep the law. Really, how are you not in prison? If you can't obey the law, how are you not in prison for rape, murder, theft? The idea that the Ten Commandments apply to everybody, that is typical Christian bullshit, but it shows they don't understand their own Bible. The thing is, the Ten Commandments don't apply to everybody because read Exodus chapter 20, verse 2. I don't have my e-sword connected to this right now or I'd show you. That is talking about the God of the Bible saying about leading people out of Egypt, the house of bondage. The ones in that story that he led out of Egypt were the Jews, Israelites. It wasn't everybody. It was Jews. That is specifically who this was to, who these laws were to. And the Ten Commandments are 10 out of the 613 laws the Jews have to obey. $613 of them son of a bitches. Thing is, the laws that relate to everyone else, there's only about 7 of them. They're termed the laws of Noah. They are with what was termed the everlasting covenant. It's where this God made an everlasting covenant that it wasn't going to flood the world again, even though there's no evidence that the world was ever flooded globally. Be that as it may. That's where the bullshit of the rainbow comes from. That's God's promise that he's not going to flood the fucking world again. Well, we can explain the rainbow and it has nothing to do with goddamn God. Thing is, excuse me. The thing is, Christians will use the term of Jesus was the Passover lamb. And they do this and show they do not understand what Passover was about. Passover had nothing to do with sin, had nothing to do with salvation, had nothing to do with forgiveness. It was about people eating a lamb and putting the blood on the door so that the God would not slaughter firstborn babies. That's what this was about. Passover was about infanticide. How that gets twisted into salvation for Christians, I don't fucking know. It sure as fuck is not going by Exodus chapter 12 and what's there. Christians have made up their own bullshit. And they completely ignore what Passover means. The fucking words tell you pass over. How does that have a goddamn thing to do with your not having to take responsibility for what you did? It's about the angel of death passing over the house and not slaughtering a firstborn. The thing is, this is offensive, what Christians are trying to pull. Because what's salvation? This free gift from God. It's bullshit. What it is it's a big fuck you to everyone that their actions hurt. What that says, and I'll pull this up again, Christian convert, that's a big fuck you to everyone he killed and ate. Those people that he murdered and ate, they're still dead. Why should he be forgiven when those that he murdered were still dead? Why should, I think his name was Aaron Hernandez, the football player that was in prison for murder, hung himself and had written John 3:16 on his body. That's the type of piece of shit that this appeals to. Because what the fuck else do they have? Here you have a system that is, all you have to do is say you believe something and everything you did is washed away. That is the most immoral message that could ever be mentioned. It is a recipe for making society completely chaotic. Because it is thumbing your nose at justice. It is doing a great big fuck you to everyone your actions hurt. And this is something that does hit home with me. Because when I was a kid, my mom would verbally tear me apart. And then afterward, she would be, oh, I'm sorry. But then, the next time, it would be same old bullshit. Same routine every fucking time. Over and over and goddamn over. It got to the point I looked at her and what I thought was, no, you're not. Because if you really were, you wouldn't keep fucking doing it. Don't hand me this bullshit of all you have to do is repent. Fuck you. All you have to do is believe in Jesus and everything you did is washed away. Fuck you. It doesn't change what you've done. It can't. And you're an asshole if you think it does. Don't come at someone like me and try talking about the wallpaper, the calendar, or even that. That's nothing compared to what you bastards are wanting to embrace and wanting to have. I mean, think about what society would look like if our courts operated the way your fucking Jesus would have wanted. Someone like Jeffrey Dahmer, all he would have had to do is, I've accepted Jesus, and been, oh, you're free to go. Jesus' blood paid for everything. You don't have to go to prison for murder. Because there's no sin Jesus' death can't pay for. Fuck you. Fuck Jesus. That is fucking evil. What that breeds, that's not justice. That's fucking chaos. If that's what you want to worship, then why not just admit you're an evil bastard that only gives a damn about your own sorry self-centered ass? Thing is, I don't believe in a God. And I don't believe in a heaven or a hell. The thing is, think about this idea of a heaven. All you're doing is praising this God forever. Non-stop, no sleep, no break, no time off. Any desire to be, well, what's in this for me? Well, that's pride. You're going to hell. You can't have any desire for yourself. You don't fucking matter. It's all about kissing the ass of your Jesus forever, non-stop, 24/7, over and over and over. I dare say, heaven, hell, they're both torture. The only difference would be fucking temperature. Don't hand me this bullshit that Jesus was fucking wonderful. The jackass that said take no thought for your life, don't think about what you're going to eat or what you're going to wear. Yeah, great fucking advice. But then turns around and says, oh, but if you have money, go and buy a sword, because things concerning me have an end. And his disciples said, oh, lo, there are two. It's enough. Why? It doesn't fit. It's because this asshole was about control. And one last thing. The God of the Bible had no faith. The word faith appears 2 times. 2! Motherfucking 2 times in the Torah and Tanakh, the Old Testament. It is over 250 times in the New Testament. The God of the Bible has no faith. The God of the Bible set up with the Messiah. Here's the criteria. Here is how you'll know who the Messiah is. You have that. What the fuck do you need faith for? You have criteria laid out in front of you. These are things this Messiah has to do. Jesus did 0 of them. 0. Goose fucking egg. But Christians lie and distort to try and fit it to their end. And they want to act like someone like me who's pointing out what is actually fucking there and pointing out their lies. They want to act like I'm misquoting it. No, I'm telling you the way it fucking is. I'm showing you what's fucking there. The same way I would if I was critiquing a Star Wars movie. I would show you this is what is there. This is what was said. This, and this. Here's the proof. Boom. There should be no fucking argument. It's right fucking there. The thing is, this idea of faith The only time you need faith, and the only one who would want you to have faith in them, is a con artist. Someone that's trying to rip you off. Someone that's trying to trick you. Then they would be, and someone like that would be very insecure about, don't offend, don't challenge one of these little ones that believe in me. Yeah. Jesus advocated torture, self-mutilation, rather than offending one of these little ones that believe in him. Because they're stupid. They don't know any better. But this con artist doesn't want anyone to point out that he is a fraud. Because the reason is he's not interested in what is true. He's only interested, or he was only interested in how many could he con. The thing is, the ironic part, there's a whole lot of you bastards that would bend over backwards to excuse and justify everything he did. It doesn't matter. The truth doesn't matter because you have faith. You don't need faith when you have facts. When you have evidence, proof, which, by the way, that's what the God of the Bible wanted. Which raises the question, how the fuck can this God be all-knowing? If it's all-knowing, why does it need proof? Doesn't it already know? The thing is, if the God of the Bible wants proof, why shouldn't I? If the God of the Bible says, prove to me that you're going to obey the law. Prove it. Okay. By the same token, I would look at this God and say, prove you exist. Prove it. I don't believe you. I'm not going to go by what somebody says. I want proof. And until such time that proof is given, I don't believe it. And like I've said in other videos, even if it would be definitively proven that the God of the Bible would exist, fine. You exist. You're still a fucking dick. In order to get past the aspect of, all right, fucker, you exist. Fine. Fuck you. You exist. Now I can really go, fuck you. Then it would be one of, you want me to like you? You have to explain your fucking self. You seriously have a lot of fucking splaining to do. There is no, a God can do what a God wants because a God is God. That is a might makes right philosophy. That is as wicked as it comes as well. But the last thing I'll leave you with, and this hits at the heart of Christianity as well. Any system where someone or a group of people or a dogma is trying to tell you what to think, it's evil. It's malevolent. There's no time where somebody's saying you have to think X, Y, or Z. We're not going to give you proof. You need to just take it on faith. Bullshit. That is malevolent. They're trying to trick you. They're trying to con you. Otherwise, they would prove it. But it gets worse. It is bad enough to try and say you have to take something on faith and telling someone what to think. That's bad enough. But then, on top of that, to threaten them. It doesn't matter threatening them with anything. Any type of threat. attached to. You have to think X or else. Then even if the person says they do, how do you know they actually do and that they're not just saying that so that they won't have this bad thing you're threatening them with? How do you know? Do you have faith? Is that what you're trying to go for, Christians? That you would have faith that they actually believe this bullshit? Is it enough that somebody mouthed the right words and you'll be sucking their dick? Is that how you operate? Is that how you roll? If it is, tell me in my comment section. I really want to fucking know. Is what matters more of what words come out of somebody's mouth rather than what they fucking do? Because that sure as fuck seems like what you're trying to say. That your new covenant is about all for me and fuck you. Shove your new covenant up your ass. Shove your immoral nature up your ass. I'm too moral to be a Christian. Christians are too immoral to be an atheist. Because atheism means you have to be responsible for what you fucking do. There is nothing that's going to take away your responsibility. It just doesn't exist. And I would dare say that atheists like me wouldn't want anything to take away the responsibility for what I do. Because what I do, there are things, and there is one more thing that I'll mention because it does tie into this. There was one point a couple weeks ago when I went to get my paycheck cashed at work. The one woman at the register made a mistake, and she gave me $50 too much. I was nearly certain of it at the register, but I went out to my car and I counted. And at that point, I was sitting in my car. I realized, yeah, I got $50 too much. I could have just sat there and said, I made $50. I couldn't do that. Because I know how companies operate when they come up missing money. I went back in and handed it to her and I said, you got to be more careful. You gave me $50 too much. The thing is, I'm honest to a fault. I could have kept it. I didn't. Not because I believe in a God, but because if I hadn't returned that, my own conscience would have eaten me alive. I would not have been able to be at peace with me. Fuck your God. Fuck your Jesus. Fuck your salvation. If you can't do what I did, you're a piece of shit. Bottom line. I didn't have to. I didn't get anything for doing it. You know why I did it? It was the right goddamn thing to do. If that's not how you operate, Christian, you're a piece of shit. I'll just put it right on the fucking table. It's why I don't like 99% of you. Because when it comes down to it, you're a low-life piece of shit that if you had the chance to rip someone off, you would do it and not bat an eye. And I know that's true because look at the fucking TV preachers. They rip people off every Sunday, every week. And they don't bat an eye. Feel free to leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. I won't do another video till my voice is better. Later, people.